right? 62 when we got our independence. Aside from the political climate, right? Because we can't escape that. What was the feeling like for you in terms of personal life and just things going around, the atmosphere, how people got along, you know, the uncertainty versus the certainty of what's to come? What was that vibe and that essence like when we were transitioning, in your opinion, from a time of not being independent into being an independent state?
Well, I was at the National Stadium when they pulled on the flag, the British flag.
Wow.
I was sick. And having lived in Vineyard Town, next door to Up Park Camp, okay? Neville Oxenden, who went to KC, we all grew up in the same area, and we had a team called the Grafton City. So we used to, our playing field was, we had to go through the double fence that run along the army base.
Adult Park?
Yeah. And to get to play football. And the Englishmen used to chase us.
Right.
And we were running all over the place, but we knew the holes where to go. Right. They didn't.
Right.
And so when we got independence, I was glad to see those Englishmen go. Right. As a matter of fact, when we got independence, they stopped chasing us.
So the first independence you experienced was the independence to go play football without being bothered?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because at that stage, the Jamaican Defense Force was formed. And the Englishmen most of them had left, and just a bunch of them was in the better part of Park Camp. And the Jamaica Defense Force was mostly down by South Camp Road.
Right.
If you drive, you'll see it. I think the mobile police and all that.
There now.
And then eventually they left. But they knew that to come and chase us, because once we got independence, we stopped running.
Right.
And tell them it's time for you to go home.
So you, as a youngster at that time, felt the power and the pride of independence to where you can tell somebody, hey, listen,
yeah, man.
It's a my land now, it's not yours anymore.
Right.
No, we're talking about this from a football perspective, purely recreational.
Football and cricket. Because when cricket season, that's what we play. And
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you felt that way regarding your recreation and your sports, right? Was that the energy from the general populace now, the regular? Because you know we come from a background mentality there where we do have the oppressors, even though they're there and there's benefits to it, but we kind of feel the vibe of the oppression. Is it a situation where outside of the youth, were other people feeling the same way too? Like, okay, you know what?
I think so. Yeah? I think so. During that time, a lot of songs were created by the singers. The Lord Creator, Trinidadian guy who lived in Jamaica, he just died. Had a couple of Jamaican theme songs. You know, Prince Buster was coming along. The ska was very, in my opinion, very strong at that time. And then Houghton Lewis did this song,
Take It Easy,
in September of 1966. And I know that because he and I was working together after the Commonwealth Games, which I took part in as a hurdler representing Jamaica. I got this job at this factory, and there he was. I didn't know he could sing. I went to school with him for a short period.
Really?
Yeah, and so he was showing me the ropes. And then one evening we heard on the radio Fusion, you know, the big factory, and they said they have a surprise by one of our staff members here. And boom, Duke Reed, I think it was, had a 15 minutes thing on Radio Jamaica, one of those stations.
Right.
And that's where we heard Rocksteady for the first time.
Never knew that he was even involved in music.
No, I never. And I said, he and I standing up, and he just smiled. I said, you like it? He said, boy, this is different. This is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, hear them say, Houghton Lewis. I mean, turn around and I said, which Houghton am I talking about? And he bust out a laugh. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And they played both sides of the song.
Right.
Because both sides were hits.
Right.
I think it was produced by Winston Blake. I think I'm not 100% sure right now. But
Wow.
that is when the rocksteady thing started to come in. Duke Reed, Tommy McCook. By this time, the Scatlites had broken up. Tommy McCook went to Duke Reed, and he had a group called the Supersonics. Different styles, smooth style.
Right.
And then Roland and Fanso and them, the rest were with Studio One. Studio One, of course, was putting out all these great ska music.
Right.
Then Prince Buster came along with a different style
Of ska.
of ska, but tremendous bass line and all that, which I loved to this day.
Yeah.
And there are a couple others, but those were the main people.
Wow.
And that's what the birth of Rocksteady in the 60s. I hear a lot of people talk about, there was, of course, the Federation thing, that the English was pushing us to be in.
Right.
I don't think that, I'll be honest with you, at that time, I don't think that the islands, the rest of them wanted any federation. But because England was pushing them, we had the West Indies Federation for a number of years. Norman Manley, who was a prime minister at the time, because Bustamante, his cousin, who was the opposition
leader.
yeah, he was pushing this communist thing. And Norman Manley was no communist. But they're cousins, remember that, they're cousins.
Yeah.
And Norman Manley took a bust out of prison and all that stuff. A lot of people don't remember that.
Right.
In the 30s. And Norman, a decent man, said, I let the people of Jamaica decide. I never forget
Right.
that Bustamante had chains. A Cuban ship came to Jamaica, or a Russian ship, I don't remember which it was, came to Jamaica, down at the old Kingston Wharf there.
Right.
And Bustamante was there with chains. How them come for chain up Jamaica, turn Jamaica in a communist.
Wow.
And that swung the Federation.
Wow.
And the rest of the Caribbean, a lot of them hated us.
Because we never.
We opted out. And the unfortunate thing for me at that time was that the man who really took us to independence was Norman Manley. Not so much Buster, Norman Manley.
Right.
That is what I grew up knowing. And he never became the first prime minister.
Wow.
And he never became prime minister. His son did, but not him.
Right.
And that had always bothered me, that the man who actually, in my opinion, who led Jamaica up to that point, didn't get the chance to. But he was honest, and he said, I let the people decide.
Right.
And Federation broke up.
It's amazing to, ladies and gentlemen, chopping it up with Sir Tony Carr. We just got a little bit of time left, but thank you all so much for rocking out with us. I've often said, based on my observation, and my observation is rooted in research and my own experiences and stuff like that, but this conversation is what I've had before, is that when Jamaica gained its independence from Britain, it's really Britain that gained independence, and I deem it financial independence, a relinquished financial responsibility to Jamaica. So all the struggles and stuff that we had to come through was inevitable. But when we speak of the independence, is it more so Jamaica gained independence, or is it more so the UK gained independence because they were able to walk away after reaping however many years of money from Jamaica and walk away scotch-free, not having to have any financial responsibility?
I think it benefited England more. They reaped, they stole, and they stole, and they stole.
And they're still stealing.
And they're still stealing.
Right.